I've never really streamed from the mobile phone in this way. Um, Never on this phone. Certainly not since my channel has taken the path that it's taken. Um, so this will be a totally different thing for me, and I apologize if it's jarring for anybody. But I've been jonesing for a live stream, so I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about stuff and just catch up. And I've been kind of obsessed with the time change here. Being 2 hours behind where I was before has been very weird because everything I've known since 2004, well, no, let's just call it 2005. So over 20 years, almost 21 years, has been the central time zone. And before that, it was mostly the eastern time zone. And although I've talked to people, I've worked with people in the Pacific time zone, I've never actually been here for an extended period of time. So when I think I would normally start a stream, it's very different here. So looking at the time zones lately, and I actually have widgets on my phone that tell me where, what time is it in London, what time is it in, New York, Pittsburgh, Dallas, just to keep it something visual. Because normally the way that my motivation works to stream is that usually around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, at least, legibly, I want to stream. But by then, it's so much later for everybody else, especially in the UK. And I always kind of neglect the UK in terms of like the times that they would be around and awake and stuff. So I just kind of went, I want to make sure that they're, taken care of. And looking at the time of everything, I was like, yeah, just try this out, see what happens. No agenda for this. I don't have any big reveals or anything. I just really missed live streaming. So that's why I'm here. And I hope it works out. I hope that it is good. I'd love to talk about how things have been for the first, week plus here, and how it doesn't feel like it's been a week plus here. It feels like it's been a couple of days. It's weird the way time has kind of morphed since we've been here. So it's been good. Don't get me wrong. We're really happy. As much unpacking as we have done, it does not feel like we have unpacked that much. The toy room, I haven't even been in there in a couple of days. Because I was like, well, I can't even begin to unpack that until we get the folding tables. The folding tables arrived. But I'd already made the decision, like, well, we got to get the rest of the place up and running first. That's kind of been the thing for me. So we're a ways out from that, but not as far as you might think. So, like, for example, in the kitchen we have like a handful of boxes to depackage, in toy terms, to unpack, and because a large portion of the kitchen is unpacked, we just got to get the boxes down and put some stuff away. And when that's done, the kitchen is done, and we probably this afternoon, hopefully we'll get that done, and then from there, that gives us space to move some boxes out of the dining area, set up the dining table, and then reposition the boxes that are in there on that table that get them just enough out of the living room to where we can move a couple little things that are in front of here. Like, everything's a lot of Tetris and robbing Peter to pay Paul. So if we get all that done, the living room will be wide open. Then we can try to go through these boxes and find the components we're missing, like my surround system. I don't know where it is. I know where the stands are, and I think I know where the speakers are packed, but I don't know that for sure. I know they're here. I just don't know where. And, gaming systems, shit like that. So this idea of getting things unpacked. Like, I don't need everything to be totally hooked up and working to be happy with all this stuff. But I do want to make sure that each of the rooms have as few things to do as possible before I start working on the toy room. And chief among those is the office. So the office, I mean, per capita has a lot of stuff in it. And I suspect there's a lot of things that are in it that don't need to be in there. So we kind of get the dining room under control. A really high number of those boxes are DVDs, Blu-rays, and video games that all belong on the shelves that are already set up down here. So in my head, it's like, well, we got to get those taken care of. And that'll be an easy way, like a really cheap, what Dimebag Darrell used to call a cheap high, where you would just, hey, Boba, what's up, buddy? It'd be a cheap way to feel like we're making progress on everything, because that will go pretty quick. And I think in the office it'll be a similar thing because of CDs. There's a lot of boxes of CDs in there. My CDs will be kept up there. So I think once that kind of starts to roll, we'll be in pretty good shape. Similarly, in the office, the biggest problem is always twofold. There's two things when I set up my office that are always a pain in the dick. And that's the electricity, so like plugging in the strips and getting them run behind the desk and all that. And then plugging things into that. And also the monitors, because I have that big monitor stand, right? Once the monitors are set up properly, once the desk has electricity and power and everything, at least initially, just getting the computer up and running will just take a few seconds, because I'm going to be using the computer we originally bought for the living room up there, because it's just faster, it's better, it's more reliable, and I'm going to be converting that computer to a home server so that, you know, as I get more of these mini PCs, I can edit from anywhere in the house. And share files across everything and stream movies to any device in the house, stuff like that. That's the plan. I don't need all of that done to consider that room ready to go. For me, it's let's unpack everything that you know is a glaring thing. So like media and you know, getting those things on shelves, getting the boxes out of there, and making it a functional space, right? Bedroom, similar thing. When I tell you we've got 5 boxes in there, you'll be like, 5 boxes? Yeah, but they're almost as tall as I am. And it's all closed for the most part. That's going to be done pretty quick too when we get around to it. We've been living out of our suitcases because we overpacked the suitcases because we knew we weren't going to get there right away. But like I said, yeah, the initial electric and plug setup's always a pain, but once done, it's done. Yes, exactly. So like the priority of this kind of goes kitchen, reset the dining room, finish the living room, back to the dining room, office and bedroom are similar priorities. And if we really put our nose to the grindstone, that shouldn't take too long. But whenever it's done, and then that's that. Then some real work begins, and I think a lot of it, you're going to laugh at me probably, is prepping the toy room to get done. So the boxes down, I didn't have the opportunity to sit down there and say, put this here, put that there, put this there, put that there. I just had to trust them. And by and large, they just got the stuff in there. The toy bins are pretty much in one place, but they're not situated in a spot where I want them to be. So we're going to have to Tetris a lot of stuff down there and get things where it's supposed to be. Hey, Gojatron! Nice to see you, buddy. We have to move things around just to get it to a place where we're ready to work. Like the shelving are on the completely wrong wall. Completely wrong. Well, they're not very heavy shelves, not a big deal. You know, so we'll go ahead and put those on the other wall, and that'll be that. But the rest of it is like set the tables up, and once that, set the tables up, put the shelves where they're supposed to go, and based upon that, that tells me kind of where bins can live semi-permanently, because there's going to be room for more shelves down there than there were in the old toy room. Maybe even more of the folding tables, but in my head I've got to get things done a certain way, and I've got to rethink some of the measurements because I have plenty of tables. I don't need more for what my initial stuff is. But my initial thought about how they're going to get set up might get screwed up a little bit. I don't know yet. I'm very happy with them. I think they're going to be awesome. I just might have been overzealous in the way I thought I would have to set them up. I just don't know that yet. So it's going to be like this weird period of just... It's very Spaceballs, actually. Like, why are you always preparing? You're preparing? Just go. Kind of thing. But I can't do that. And part of that comes down to mobility, which is way better than it was when we first got here. Getting up and down the stairs, it winds me a little bit. A little winded. But not the way it was when we first got here. When I first got here, getting up and down the stairs, I was down for a while. Because I just hadn't used those muscles at all in a long time. You know, and going to the bathroom now, I have to walk, like a regular person, walk all the way to a bathroom. Versus in Texas, in our apartment, I could just kind of twist around different things and there would be a wall like 3 paces away. And barely a pace because I couldn't... You know, even my father-in-law, I kind of, when we saw them on Monday, I was telling him how it's really a nice change to have to walk through the place instead of twist and turn around all this clutter and everything else. And he smirked because I think he completely understood what I was talking about. So it's been an adjustment. I feel good, and you know it's going to sound cheesy, but you know we used to get air quality alerts in the negative every single day in Arlington. Here, the air quality is excellent every single day. So I do think that part of me snapping back with the cardiovascular health, at least initially, has a lot to do with the air quality that's here, which is great. You know, we didn't waste any time with some of the really important things. Hey, Badger, good to see you, buddy. By the way, is chat on screen for you guys? I don't think it is. It was supposed to be, but it's not. I apologize for that. Let me see if I can... Nope. I think that's just for me. You probably only have me on screen. You see chat. Okay, well, it's covering my face, so I'm going to move that. Can you still see chat? If you can't see chat, say so. I'll put it back up here in a second for myself. Oh, not on the screen. Oh, okay, not on the screen. Okay, good. Good. That makes my life a little easier. All right. Okay, that makes my life easier in a big bad way. So, the process of getting a driver's license here was insanely easy. We got there 15 minutes early, and we didn't need to, because we got seen exactly on time. The seating was comfortable. There wasn't a lot of chaos. They saw everybody, you know, in the right order of everything, and they let me take a seat there. Because am I losing weight? Absolutely. Is my fitness getting better? Sure. But my body still doesn't very much like standing for more than really like a minute. Like if I'm walking, that's one thing, but standing's a problem. And part of that is coming down to the fact of my knee. Somewhere along the way, my knee has been getting really weak. And Lauren's having a similar issue with her knee. And we think it comes down to we're both trying to do more than we're supposed to do. So then we sit in the chair, you know, at the counter and everything. And they walked us through all of our options for everything. You know, we paid our money. And I walked out of there with an Oregon license. And it was just the complete antithesis of what the process was in Texas. which actually led to me not getting a license in Texas because they made me sit in there for like 8 hours only to tell me I hadn't brought exactly what they wanted, even though I did bring what I was told from the website needed. And I'm like, you made me sit here for this long? As soon as you get to the DMV in Oregon, the first guy says, you need this, this, and this. Do you have it? And you show it, and they go, okay, you're good. They tell you up front if you're going to be a waste of their or your time. It's such a wild concept. But everything was efficient. Everyone was nice. We got out of there, and I went straight to the dispensary. So I wanted to make my first legal 420 purchase. I did. It was super fun. I mean, you know, I'm paying for a product. It's not like the most fun thing ever, but it was novel. It was nice. I was streaming unlisted for like 7 minutes because I totally forgot that I was trying to test, and then I just started talking before I was like, oh, this is unlisted. So I had to come back and stop. But what I was talking about there was every single person in a customer-facing or service-related thing, for the most part, has been competent, polite, kind. Like, they really care about what they're doing here. And I don't know if that's indicative of just this area or this part of the country. I don't know what it is. But I will say that in Texas, everything for everyone was a grind or a hustle. And when you came across someone that really gave a shit about what they were doing, it was kind of rare. And it's almost brought me to tears several times. The people just actually legitimately care about making sure things are right here. It's just one more thing that tells me, like, this is the place I'm supposed to be, right? It's been good. So, let me kind of steer back to fun stuff. I'll give you guys an exclusive. Since I'm probably going to unlist this when it's done because it's not going to be something that's really going to be a ton of fun to rewatch necessarily. At least in my opinion. I talked to Dr. Tongue, the owner of Dr. Tongue's I Had That toy shop, on not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. And he had a complete well of souls there. Loose, but complete. And the price was really good. And I'm going to get it. I need to wait till we get some my next deposit in, but we're going to get that. And because that is like one of the grailiest grails that ever grailed for me. Because I remember seeing it at a Toys R Us back in the day, in the same moment that I realized that Indiana Jones toys ever existed at all, right? So I was like, well, how do I like metabolize that into my collection, since I've been keeping all of my retro card indie stuff on card? And then I remembered, well, you've already got a spare indie that's loose, it's on the desk. Why don't you just get another Marion, because Marions are actually pretty cheap to get, and then put her and him in the Well of Souls, and then have all the carded figures like behind that, and that be a little display for you. And I thought, well, that's perfect. So I was supposed to go get it last week. I just didn't, and then bills got away from me, and I have to wait until we get some more money. But I'm really excited for that. Like, I'm really excited to get a Well of Souls. And it be kind of this thing where it's like, okay, I have to get this display done, kind of a thing. As Goji has said multiple times, like, this whole, like, once I get started with the toys, it's gonna just go. Because once I get down there and I'm comfortable, as long as I'm down there and I'm comfortable working, I'm just gonna go. Like, the only thing that's ever stopped me from getting this kind of stuff done is ease of the work. So for me, it's been, I don't have enough space to take a bin and go poof and just work on things. I've got nothing but space down there. Once I get things kind of moved around, it'll be perfect. But like, it's there, like the space is there. So the reason I mentioned the Well Souls and everything, I'm looking at this Marion, a carded Marion figure over here, which is technically my first toy purchase here in Oregon. She's just kind of sitting on the shelf over here, just because I have nowhere else to put her right now. And on one hand, like, I don't feel like I need to be in a rush or anything to get all this stuff done, because I don't want to do it wrong. But I definitely want to. I want to do it right, but I'm also really ready to have fun with this stuff again, you know. And like I've said many times, like setting up the toy room is going to be its own content and stuff. It'll be fun. I didn't realize that the chat wasn't auto-scrolling, so I'm sorry. I missed Gojitron's comment that says, our DMV went to appointment only during COVID. It's been glorious, in and out less than 30 minutes every time. Yeah, that just... They have walk-ins. So this place, like at least the branch we were at, you could do walk-ins, but the system that, you know, would like kind of decide who goes when and what's to where. So if they were like done with people ahead of schedule, instead of just going to the next appointment, they would let a walk-in on, kind of a thing. Kind of like, if you don't have an appointment, yeah, you can get in. It's going to take a minute, that's all. So I was just beyond impressed with that. Really impressed with that. All the food, you know, at least as far as from, well, not even just from like local places, but like even chains here have been better. You know, like I was flabbergasted yesterday when I ordered a soda, a Big Gulp, from a 7-Eleven that got delivered here. And it arrived cold and tasted like the soda. Because the 7-Eleven that we would always get from at the apartment, I don't think they ever knew how to run that machine. Because it was hit or miss if you were going to get the right flavor, and if they had the right ratio of syrup to water, or if it was running out, or it was carbonated, you know. And we gave them a chance over and over and over again. And it just never worked out. They didn't give a shit. They didn't care. Like, you'd order a Twinkie, and what would show up would be something totally different, but in the Hostess family. Not because they wanted to make sure you got something good, but because they didn't want to lose the sale. You could tell. They just want to make the money. And I appreciate that, but I don't appreciate that lack of service. So for us up here, the first time I ordered from a 7-Eleven, like, everything comes exactly correct, quickly, and it tastes perfect. Again, it was just like, wow, it's revelation. I miss my people in Texas. I miss my people there. I miss some of the culture already. You know, like there's a lot more Chinese type restaurants there. Up here, everything's Thai or Vietnamese, which is very different if they're doing it correctly. And then, you know, the Tex-Mex or the straight Mexican stuff is a lot less. I miss those things. Although there's decent Mexican here and there's decent Chinese here, you just gotta look. I miss those things. I miss my people. But Texas itself, I do not miss at all. I don't. I wish that I did, but I don't. But I miss my people, and I miss some of the food stuff. But other than that, it's just like, we should have come here sooner. I even told my father-in-law, I said, Dad, if we could have... When I came back from Christmas last year, I told him, I says, if I could have turned around and just got on a plane, you know, got movers to pack up all our shit, turn around, got on the plane, come back, I would have done it. And looking back at what relatively little has happened, because the whole year was just move. So it's... I'm just really glad we're here. Epic Badger says, considering the sheer volume of Texas plates and templates in Colorado, a lot of people have similar opinions of Texas. Yeah, Texas like promises industry and stuff, and it has all those things, and there's a lot of really cool places to go and things to do. There's no shortage of good food from multiple cultures and everything, but especially in direct contrast to what I've been describing here, there's a lot of not super nice people there. And you don't think about it until you're confronted with something different. Granted, Lauren had a lot of friends, and we had a lot of friends and neighbors in our apartment complex we didn't even know about. Like, we just didn't occur to us. Because she'd say hi to people all the time, walking Gabby and whatnot. We didn't bother anybody. You know, we were relatively quiet, and we didn't bug anybody. We didn't make any waves. We didn't impede on anybody else. And there was a lot of people that were stopping her, saying, "Are you guys moving?" She's like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, no." And there were people, at least 3 or 4 people said, "Well, if you're moving, I'm moving." Because for a lot of them, they had moved in after we had gotten there, and like heard from neighbors that we'd been there for almost 3 years or whatever. And they were just kind of in this situation where they're like, "Well, if this nice couple is leaving, like, then that says a lot." And I shed a tear over that, because I was like, I didn't know that people thought of us that way. I thought it was more of the Monster Squad scary German guy, you know, scary long hair guy. Because I didn't go out that much. She did. But really nice people didn't want us to go. Boba Hicks says, "You didn't mess with Texas." I'm like, no, I'm not going to. In both senses of what you mean. You have to think about, though. I lived in Texas for 6 years. 6 years. No, more than that. 18, oh, shit, yeah. Like 7.5 years I lived in Texas. And the first 18 months weren't that great, but there are a lot of things about it I fell in love with. And then going to Dallas and being in the movie and talking to the boys and everything, I enjoyed it quite a bit. But it just... Basically, the second we got out of that hotel room and got into the apartment and knew we were in the wrong apartment, the job market wasn't doing me any favors after I lost my job. Like, all of the sparkle had just worn off, basically. Badger wants to know what I think of the color green in Oregon. I think it's great. It's so lush here. Everywhere, like, you're hard pressed to not see green anywhere here. Even downtown, there's enough space between buildings. If you look in the right area, you'll probably find some greenery. And I love that. I've told Lauren it reminds me of back home in western Pennsylvania on the east coast of the States. Like, that's just perfect for me. This place, in so many ways, is what I wanted my hometown to be. And there's not a lot of effort from me required for it to be that. So, I'm very happy about that. And there are some things, though. Example, the county that we are in has some of the lowest property taxes in the area, which is great. But I would gladly pay another 10% or so in property taxes if it meant we could get a couple laws swapped out. For example, you can get beer and wine delivered to your house. You can't get liquor, like spirits, and you cannot get flour, 420, of any kind, delivered to your door. All the surrounding counties can, but not my county. So although I like paying lower property taxes in general, I will happily pay a higher property tax to be able to get that stuff delivered. So some of the conveniences that we had in Texas, we just don't have here. However, there's... Oh, well, thank you. Mark says I have nice hair. I know. It'll be nicer. There's a really nice barbershop down the street that I want to go down to and have them give me the once-over. Giraffe says, I remember green. Seattle is now poop, graffiti, and dirt colors. Sat up here. You're in Seattle, dude? I didn't know that. Dude, you're close. We should hang out. Seriously. Seattle poop, graffiti, and dirt colors. Sat up here compared to how it was pre-2012. People say a lot of the same things about Portland, and although I understand why they say that, I really do. And I want for everyone that was here before to get some of that stuff back. What we have is still really special. So I think that the closer we get to where things were, the better off we'll be, but we're still in a really special spot. Retro. It's Portland Retro Game Expo, I think is what it's called. But like Portland PGX, like it happened just as we were moving. Like I just missed it this year. And yeah, we'll definitely go next year. I might even get a booth. So I'm also trying to get my ear to the ground on toy shows in the area, and apparently there's a bunch of them, but they're all kind of like small potatoes. And apparently the weekend of the Game Expo, there was like 3 small toy shows happening the same fucking weekend, and then a small Comic-Con. It's like, did you guys fucking read? Like, spread it out. So, but yeah, we can make that happen. We got space to sleep people too. Like this new couch we got, you can't really see it, but it's a sectional. It's not a crazy sectional, but we have an ottoman with it we can bust out, and you'd be super comfortable if you like sleep on this 4, ottoman size thing, and then have your legs just kind of go off on the couch over here. We have a love seat downstairs that we kind of just kept from the old place, just in case we needed seating down there. Like, why not? It would fit, so we took it with us. And depending on how the office layout works out, if I have the space up there, I eventually want to get a Murphy bed up there as well. So if there's space for people to sleep in this house, because we don't know how long we're going to be here, and we're not in a rush to leave. We want to make sure that everything's financially right before we move. Giraffe says, yeah, I missed it this year. Things were hectic. Had to catch it on replay with Metal Gear. Got you. Being up here is definitely interesting. John Blue Riggs, who's a retro gaming guy, he's up there in Seattle as well. I met him through Retropalooza. Like, he's been a staple at Retropalooza for years. And we got to know each other through that. And, well, we actually first kind of got to be each other's radar because of, long story short, when I got my Famicom disk system, it was mainly because of him. And so we kind of knew who each other were. Like, I knew who he was, but he kind of knew who I was. Then I ended up in the movie, so he sees my name more, and then we see each other at Retropalooza and became friends. And now that I'm up here, he's like, oh, hey, man, what's up, blah, 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 blah. So it's cool. Like, there's people up here already that it's like, oh, cool. People that I've known in the past, like Leon Del Muerte. He's a guitar player formerly of Exhumed and Phobia and Impaled, Terrorizer LA, a couple other bands. He's up here, and we've been friends for 20 years. Girl I used to date not long out of high school, really sweet girl, woman, and she's been married to her husband for about 10, 15 years now, and they've been up here for a long time. So they're friends of ours. We're going to be seeing them this weekend, actually. And just some other new friends that happen over social media and all that shit. You know, so it's just like already having some tribe here is way cooler than I could have possibly expected. Yeah, I have a Famicom disk system. A buddy of mine, there's a video on the channel about it. Goes through the whole thing, but there's this guy that was a fan of John's. So I mentioned to him, I'm like, dude, I didn't even know they were like mass producing Famicom converters for a top loader. So I bought one, and it's like, well, now I need to get a Famicom disk system. Well, this guy who was a fan of John's was like, I have like 4 extra. I just buy them and repair them for fun. Put a new belt in them and everything. Do you want one? I'm like, yeah. And I was prepared to pay $100 because that was kind of the going rate for him at the time. He just sent it to me, free. Just sent it to me like it was no big deal. And I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. And to this day, I haven't turned it on. I've had it since early 2019, and I haven't touched it yet. Haven't had the space. All my video game stuff was in storage, and this is the first. And even though we had it open and out in the TV thing here, I never got around to hooking that stuff up. So we're going to get there, and I have a feeling that the retro stuff will probably find a home upstairs in the office. Just for the sake of space and things. I don't know yet. It's all going to get figured out, though. It's all going to get figured out. So, what else? I don't know. I just wanted to yap at you guys and it not be some fucking update video where I'm just like, okay, well, you know, the plan is... Because, yeah, we're just unpacking a little bit at a time. Giraffe says, can't wait till you're all settled in with the toys and video games out. Me too, dude. Like, that's... But I promised myself that... Because this is just... Lauren deserves this, in my opinion. All the living spaces, including the bedroom, have to be done first before I touch my office. And then the office has to be done before I touch the toy room. Because I need to be able to have a place to retreat. If the toy room's not going the way I want to have a safe space that's just mine. And the office represents that. Because not only can I have that be like my little cave, it's also a good place to do content. I don't have to have... The toy room can be in any messy stage that I need it to be in. I can leave it that way until it's, you know, up to snuff. And I can still do live streams from the office. I can still do work from the office, shit like that. Badger's exactly right. He says the toy room can also act as a temp staging ground with moving furniture and boxes while set up other rooms. Yes. We have enough living space here. It's not going to be a huge thing, because although there's certainly some boxes down there that probably need to be up here, the majority of it doesn't. Like, each room, as far as I can tell, has what is supposed to be in it. And so we don't have to do a ton of moving around. The bedroom's a good example. The kitchen's a good example. Dining room's a good example. But, you know, if we do need to move some stuff around, we can. We have the space to do that. Like, for example, like a perfect example of what Badger's saying. You guys may remember my desk was 2 desks put together for an L. Well, when they went to move the original desk, it was flying apart on them. And they didn't think it would make the move. I think it's bullshit, because I could have glued it. But I was so tired and so stressed, I said, fuck it, just leave it here, I don't care. And I turned around and ordered the same desk. And it just arrived yesterday. and it's flat packed, so it's not taking up a ton of space, but it's just sitting down in the garage because I'm like, I don't want to mess with it. So what we're gonna do when it's time to move it, up to the office, smart money, we're gonna carry it right out of the garage, put it into the back seat of the car, drive the car around, and use one of our utility carts. Just roll that fucker right in the front door, and then go up the stairs with it, rather than having to mess with stairs. 'Cause stairs suck for us right now. Oh, hey, what's up, Jesse? Other Jesse, zombie Jesse, Nanu. What's up? But yeah, it's kind of like you want to have good priorities and everything. But Lauren's been through so much between moving out of here, adjusting to Texas, us losing health insurance, and all the stuff that went along with that, and then all the stress leading up to us moving out of Texas back here. She's been such a guiding force, man. She's going to have the least amount of chaos that I can provide her. So, kitchen, if I have my way, is going to be done today. And then hopefully we'll have enough energy and moxie to at least get that table done so we can kind of put stuff on it. Because I do really feel like if we do that, it'll make things start to look a bit cleaner rather than just stacks of boxes and whatnot. And make things, because the more you can make a place feel moved in, even if it's not, the better off you are. So we're working on that. So I'm just working and lurking. Glad we made it safely. Now the fun begins. Oh God. Because we were really go for like the first week. It was a lot of, we have to get XYZ done. The driver's license being a good example. Waiting for this to get done, waiting for this or that to arrive, so we have this thing, and where's the box cutter, shit like that. And now we're kind of past that stage, and now it's just like, all right, we just unpack at our pace. And if it takes us 6 months, it takes us 6 months. I don't care. I don't want it to take that long. I would much prefer us be done by Christmas. I know we're not going to be done by Thanksgiving. We'll be close, but we're not going to be done by Thanksgiving. I get all that. I get it. So it is going to just kind of boil down to what is ready and when it's ready to go. So this is probably going to go the fastest once we just really cranking. But I don't want to over crank because, again, my knee's bad, her knee is bad now. And we don't want to overstress our bodies and then be out for longer. So we just do little tiny bits every day and not risk injury. So, but once everything is kind of up to par, I think we'll be all right. I think the toy room will be a lot more fun than the other rooms, as it should be, right? And the first thing that I've promised myself, I swore to myself, and I am not turning my back on this promise. The first thing I'm doing in that toy room is setting up Eternia. I'm going to film it, I'm going to live stream it, and I'm going to have a blast. I'm going to take my time, I'm not going to be in a rush, I'm going to have fun. And most of the Motu stuff is, I know where it is. It's labeled what it is. So getting that stuff out, at least initially, is going to be pretty quick. Once I have Eternia set up, then I just pull out Castle Grayskull, pull out Snake Mountain, and then kind of a Crystal Castle, get that stuff kind of situated, populate those areas pretty well, and then I'll do the freight zone, which I have one of them. Another one will be here pretty shortly, because I decided I wanted the front and back. So it'll be fun to populate that world, but also be emptying a lot of storage bins in short order, because the Motu is like, I mean, no exaggeration, at least 7 or 8 bins. You know, partially because some of them is just a playset with some bagged toys in there, and that's it. Plus, there's a couple boxes of just Motu boxes, right? But some of those things have box stuff in them. Like, I never took the Road Ripper out of the package. I never put either of the horses, Strider or Night Stalker, out of their boxes. Roton, etc. So that'll be fun. But I think I'm going to be tackling the stuff that is already, like, open, and just get that stuff out, spread it out, make it happy. And yeah, Giraffe, I did back the snake layer, and yes, I have an idea of where it's going to go. I know of space for it, so time to rename the room Battle for Eternity room. Like, it's not even going to take up half the fucking room. 36 feet is a long way, dude. And the whole length of it's not going to be Eternia and stuff like that. I don't yet know what the plan is with the superpower stuff yet. If it's going to be like a folding table thing, where everything's just spread out on one table with some floating shelves, or if it's going to end up on shelves like what we had before. I would love for everything to be on the same plane, but I also kind of really would love to have that cave be like a lower level thing. I don't know yet. Why did this move? No, this way. Go back this way. Why did it move? That's weird. Did I bump it? Joe DeBecky's in the house. Says, hey man, I hope the new place the bees needs. So far, so good, man. We love this house. And we both said if it wasn't for... were it not for a lack of yard and the amount of stairs, we don't see a need to move out of this place. But we really want a yard, and we'd like to minimize stairs as much as we possibly can for the 5-ever home, as we call it. So it's okay. Like, we love it the way it is, but in 20 years I'll be pushing 60. Or 70, and I'm not going to want to deal with that very much. So we have to be mindful of that moving forward. But it's okay. We'll be all right. But in the meantime, it's a beautiful place. And, you look at, like, the apartment was like 900 and some square foot, whereas this is 12. And it doesn't seem like that big of a jump, but Jesus Christ, is it a jump. Plus you have living room, dining room, kitchen, one long living space. The bedrooms are real nice size. Like, it looks small, but then you get in it and you're like, this is huge. Like, this is perfect. I love it. I really do. The bathroom is gigantic. There's almost too much space in there. Guest bathroom is a nice size. Even the powder room, like, the powder room is the size of a lot of apartment bathrooms. Like, you ever look into like an ensuite to like a master bedroom, and it's like sink, toilet, shower, like real just glued in there. That's how big our powder room is with a toilet and a sink. It's big. So they've really taken care of like stuff. Mr. Jason Garcia is in the house. Says greetings, boys. I don't know why you talk like that, but apparently you do. So greetings. Happy Thursday, right? Thursday. Days blend together anymore, and I'm not saying it's because of Oregon's national flower. It might be, Giraffe asks if I saw the new Red Shadow page of Mattel. Drops the 18th. Yes, I've been keeping track of that. I really like the idea of this character. I think that now that I've seen the actual figure, I'm even more stoked for it because I think the sculpt is really nice. Yes, I will buy one. No caveats to that. But where in the fuck is Dragstore? Where are the announcements for anything else? That's a pain in the dick. They're really stretching this shit out. It's starting to bug me. I was watching a Toy Federation video over the weekend where some guy was going to sell him his Origins collection, or at least a portion of his Origins collection. And the owner of the shop, I forget his fucking name, was talking about how essentially Motu at retail is just not really a thing, except for the crossover stuff, and then everything else is like just Mattel Creations. And he's a little bit out of touch with that because he's just concerned with his store and whatnot. So he's not completely accurate on that, but he's not far off. And me having been, with the exception of Stratos, I have never picked up a figure, bought it, and took it home from Motu. Not once. A lot of you have picked them up, bought them, and sent them to me, which I'll eternally be grateful for, pun intended. But I, deal with things remotely so long, like I didn't really stop to think about that. Giraffe says, Multibot was the latest vintage Origin figure, I believe, to be put for sale on Amazon, but yeah, we're getting Dragstore this year for sure. Year of the Horde. I hope that they release him for December. I hope that's when he comes. And that next year it's a bit of a fast track, because we're getting real close. And it's one thing to announce something for pre-order, Giraffe. It's another thing for me to have it in hand. Joe DeBig says, I like the honesty. Being from Florida, I recognize what that can and does mean where you are in the state. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was telling Boba Hicks earlier today, like, the time change is really fucking with me here. And, I was smoking down there. Different strains, different potencies and whatnot. But basically, what's been happening is that I'm the equivalency of Texas. Okay, I'm getting up around 9 o'clock in the morning, between 9 and like 10:30 in the morning, and going to sleep around 2 or 3 in the morning. But here, that means getting up between 7:30 and like 9. Or like 7 to 9:30, and then going to bed at like 1 or 2. Does that make sense? It's not quite, but you see what I mean, my point. So it's still a relatively healthy amount of day, but it's with the mobility challenges we've had, and also me like really trying to consciously give my body a chance to heal, because it's not just, ooh, my knee hurts, or ooh, my back hurts. It's also, well, I'm using muscles I haven't used in years with the stairs and everything. So some of it is just make sure you're resting, make sure you're sleeping long enough. I'll take naps and stuff. Whatever it is my body's asking for, I do it. So I've been allowing myself that, which I didn't really do when we moved into the apartment in Arlington, because I had work and everything, and it really kind of screwed me up. So since I have the luxury of not having a job, that's what I've been doing. But the flower has helped quite a bit with the healing aspect of that, sure. Goji says, Red Shadow. He's blue! Looks good, but I'm skipping that one. Not going to keep rewarding Mattel for not giving us affordable. Too bad. Finish damn characters. Yeah, I agree. But you know me, I got a problem with Motu. Can't get enough. I'm not as bad as Mr. Home Arcade and some other people. You know that. But if you're going to give me new characters that kick ass, I'm all there. I originally talked a lot of shit about the sketchbook series. I bought 2 of them so far. Because I was like, I don't care this is what Hordak was supposed to look like. What he looks like to me is like a sergeant at arms or a squad leader for Horde troopers or something. Then you get the actual squad leaders for Horde troopers. Like, well, I gotta get those too. That's one thing I can't wait for. I got a small army of skeleton warriors, a small army of, well, not very small, it's pretty big, of Horde troopers, a couple snake troopers, palace guards, the whole bit, right? And I'm really looking forward to those really being on display and just go, it'd be kind of fun. Giraffe says to Gojatron that the best is that Mattel told Pixel Dan the vintage style 2-bed was already through design phase back at SDC 2024. Yes. I think the reason they haven't released the traditional Origins 2-bed yet is because they know that when they get around to it, they're going to sell like crazy the longer they wait. So my thought process is, when you get to the you watch though, when they get to the anniversary of Club Grayskull, and they're looking to get renewals and new members to come on, that would be a figure that would be worth putting up at that time. I'm going to renew anyway, because, spoiler for the video I'm going to make, I think Club Grayskull has been 100% worth it. Paid for itself in 2 transactions. If only for the fact that the early access made ordering something a hell of a lot less stressful. I didn't worry if I was going to be able to get it at all. So, I was very grateful for that. Giraffe says, place your bets on Sketchbook 2-bed, 2000X 2-bed, come up before Vintage 2-bed. I really hope not. I think the whole 2000X line in Origins is completely misguided. Completely misguided. I understand why they're doing it. I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing it, but doing it now instead of going the other direction. Because my whole thing is this. Give us the rest of the Vintage line, and then to get new customers to come in and also keep some guys on, that's when you throw the 2000X stuff out. Because you're going to get people that weren't that interested in the Vintage stuff, but they grew up on the 2000X, wanting it in the Origin style. They'll just go for it. And if a lot of us that don't want 2000X will kind of fall off, but you'll get more people to come in. I don't know. Seems a bit weird to me. For me, it's all about timing, because Mattel, most of what they're doing is good. The timing of it is what's sketch to me, in a lot of ways. So, like I said, we'll see, but I don't know. I'm still very cautiously optimistic for 2026. I'm certainly cautiously optimistic for when we get the first reveals of what Mattel is going to do with the DC license and stuff. I'm hoping against hope we're going to get more superpower stuff. Speaking of, I ordered the 5 or 6 whatever figure pack from the Superman movie, and the Mr. Terrific ship 2-pack from McFarlane. I ordered it like weeks before we left Texas, and the FedEx tracking number has never worked. And McFarlane's customer says, so I have to call the box and see if they actually got it or not. And if they haven't by now, I'll be like, hey, you misplaced my order. Send it to me now. And that will be probably my last Superpowers purchase, unless someone else picks up the license. Georgie. Hey, Georgie. Nice to see you. I can't not say I like that at least once. Jeff says, I don't know if you collect Mega. There's some good news and rumors about it. I don't collect Mega. I don't collect Lego. Fuck that shit. If you like it, awesome. Go for it. I hope you get everything you want. I hope it's priced right. Awesome. Not for me. No fucking way. Fuck no. If I wanted Lego or Mega, that would be all I would collect. There's so much of that stuff. So expensive. Stay strong! No, I have no desire. Like, I'm one of those people, I don't know how many of us exist, but I'm okay with a toy line collection being complete. Like, I'm totally okay with it. Like, 100% okay. I'm looking forward to that. Like, there's a tiny, tiny part of my brain that wants superpowers to be dead, so I can say they're done. And when the Motu Origins vintage stuff is done, and I want it all to be done, like dinosaurs, the whole giants, the whole bit. That's what I mean. When all that's done, you know, I'll probably move on. Unless something crazy comes out, which I can't even imagine what that would be. Like, I can't even imagine what that would be. Stu! Who's in the chat? What's up, buddy? Jason says, I'd be fine with complete collections, but with the speed at which companies produce, I'll be long gone before they finish. I worry about that sometimes too, my man. But that's also why I kind of have chosen what I want to collect. Badger says, Pixel Dan was showing off some knockoff Galaxy figures, mentioned Dragonor. Those lines interest me. The Galaxy figures, they're too expensive. They're really, really cool, and I would love to have some, but they're too expensive. Same with Dragonor, although I have the red dragon that they produced, and I'll be getting the green one here. Probably just after Christmas, I'll get it. I'll probably pick it up. And then that green, because their dragon figures can be like dudes, but they can also be mounts. They're both going to be mounts for me. So like the red dragon is a stand-in for that one dragon from the cartoon. I forget his fucking name. And then the green dragon is a stand-in for the Black Star. The Black Star Dragon. Melvor's in the house. What's up? Guess what's here in Oregon with me? Your bags are here in Oregon with me. It's crazy. I love you, dude. It's good to see you. Whoa! My mount just died. I guess I'll be hand-holding it for the rest of this, or at least for a minute. Sorry about that. Shit. My bad. Fuck. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can rectify this situation. Yeah, I've been meaning to charge that for like a week, and now thanks. Draft says, hoping boss fight comes with 5.5 Conan, Red Sonny Scout Warriors. Yeah, they're good. I think they'll be great. For what it is, you know. Alright, move this. Put this down here. Raise it up. Not perfect, but it'll work. Sorry about that. Wish I was wearing VR goggles. No, you'd probably throw up, dude. Which is probably why you said what you said. I said what I said. So I'm gonna get this thing charging. I had a charging cable out specifically for this purpose. Here we go. I don't think you can use it when it's charging. If you can, maybe I'll hook it back up. Nope. That bitch is charging, which is fine. Let it charge, I say. I only had to charge it the one time. Ever since I bought it over Christmas last year, I only charged it once. That's the first time it's been dead. I use it more than you might think. It's like a roller coaster there for a moment. Like, that fucker came out of nowhere. Let me get this paper towel out of there. Push that down. That's not any better. Sorry. But yeah. So, are there other lines that have the 5.5 form factor, the Mo2-esque thing that I might get into? Maybe. Like, for me, if someone went and bought the old Remco license, like the Warlords license, and did all those, I would definitely do that. But even then, I don't know for sure, depending upon who did it. Like, it would have to be like, it would almost have to be that Mattel did it. You know what I mean? Like, the treatment they gave Sunman, give that to like the old Warlords license. I don't know. I think that'd be fun. But I understand the mentality that goes into that, though. Like, I understand why people are like, well, here's all the XYZ of this toy line that's been produced. Now I want more stuff like that. I don't think that way. But if they did do those, I would buy those. There's not that many figures, and I had a couple of as a kid. Now, because I'm looking forward to like completing certain toy lines and then moving on to something else. Like when I first got here, I mentioned top of the stream. I found a loose Raiders of the Lost Ark Well of Souls for a really good price. I'm buying that son of a bitch. Like, I can't wait. I'm so excited to get that. And that just kind of sparked like this whole excitement of like, I have expanded my ideas of what Star Wars collecting is going to be for me and stuff. Like, I pre-ordered the Vintage Collection Jabba yesterday, and didn't have any plans to have a Jabba's Palace, and I'm probably going to have a full-blown diorama of that, but just to get the denizens of his court and him, and that'll be fun. It'll be nice. Got some Return of the Jedi stuff. It'll be cool. 'Cause I have most of what I want. There's just a couple little things that are nagging at me with Star Wars. I'll get them and I'll be happy. It's like a walker, two-legged and four-legged. I want one of each, and I don't know. Can't think of much else. I've got so many troops, and lead characters and whatnot ready to go. Once I have it laid out, I'll know where the holes are, but until then, I don't know. But I know that most of what I want is there. Like an Imperial shuttle would be nice. Be real nice. But that, of course, is one of the hardest things to get. I don't need an original. Power of the Force would be good, but I don't think they even made a Power of the Force Imperial shuttle. I don't know. I have to look into it more. But that'd be nice to have. Giraffe says, it'd be great if Mattel did it. Fit a bit better with the current collection I have. All over the place, walls are getting closer. Help. Yes. Gojo says, problem with some of the modern 5.5 lines, they're still using 80s articulation rather than Origins. I agree, 100%. That is a huge issue, I find, with a lot of stuff. Which is why, like, I love the Turtles reissues, but I also feel like, now they're doing the classics, upgraded whatever, articulation, and I'm feeling like, man, I'm double dipping, this is stupid. But here we are, because the classics reissues are so damn inexpensive. It's like, well, it's not that big a deal. And even these updated articulation reissues are relatively inexpensive. That 5-pack of the Turtles that are defunkified plus Shredder and Splinter, $60, $55, and I got it on sale from Target. I paid about $40. $10 a figure or less. You can't beat that with the articulation and everything. It's a good price. Playmates is pretty good about that stuff. And some of you may know, some of you may not know. I did get the sewer layer, it came in. I did get the foot cruiser module, a lot of you saw, I think. And then I just happened to see on eBay like a week before we moved a boxed reissue Turtle Blimp for a really good price. I snagged that. So I basically have almost all the vehicles. Like the pizza thrower is one I don't have, but I don't want one. Maybe if they reissue the Cheapskate, I might get that. And like the foot little boat with the snakes that catch the turtles. I had one of those when I was a kid. I wouldn't mind getting one of those. But beyond that, I've got everything I want in terms of the big stuff, right? So like figures wise there, I'm looking for the neutrinos. They only issued like 1 or 2 of those characters ever in the line. But if I can only ever get one, I'll get the one and put him in the foot cruiser and call it a day. That's what I want to do with him. I don't have big wants for that collection because I've got so much of the stuff I had when I was a kid. Very little I don't have that I wanted. Metalhead would be nice. I would love for them to reissue more foot troopers, more foot soldiers, even more. Like just give me a 4-pack. Give me a 4-pack of foot soldiers for like $30, $35, and I would buy 2 of them easy. I'd be so happy. If they do updated articulation on the foot soldiers, like step aside. Like I want a lot of those. Like that would be great. But you got the Technodrome, the sewer layer, and I can combine that with bits and pieces from the Mutant Mayhem playset because it would look cool. Mutant module, foot cruiser, turtle van, turtle blimp. I've got characters to populate all that stuff. I don't need anything else. You know, I'm not a completist when it comes to that line. I don't need all the variations of fucking turtles. There are a couple that are fun, but I don't need them. You know, I'm all about character representation. And, you know, I've got a weakness for Godzilla and for Spider-Man, but I feel like there was enough disparate versions of those characters, and they're, you know, near and dear to my heart, that obviously there's a reason to have those, but even then, it's just like, do I really need this? And I buy it anyway, you know. But Turtles is one of those things we're getting very down to the wire with that now. Star Wars is a handful of things. Origins is just a matter of them making the stuff that I want. Superpowers, you know, it's a question of who makes what when. Vintage stuff, I have maybe 3 figures I wouldn't mind getting, but I'm not that into it to pursue it right now. I ordered a Plastic Man. They said he arrived. Never got here. And the store was like, oh, that's weird. That was our entire response. Oh, that's weird. So I'm going to wait for a response to my reply to that, and barring, you know, an offer to help, I'm going to file a claim and call it good. And this is part of why I didn't spend a lot on Plastic Man. I got one that had a broken arm. I could get them cheap. But that's the kind of thing I want. Some of these outlier figures and stuff, but I don't want them bad enough to like go overboard with it. Especially with a good shop like Dr. Tongue in town, where I can be like, hey man, here's what I'm looking for, and you can source it. So I did not have that relationship off to a good start, because I was supposed to come in last week to get it, and I didn't. I feel like an asshole. But there's a lot of toy lines that are like coming to a close. Classified is getting real close too. Oh, hey Jasper, you hear him? He is in his glory, man. 3 floors and all the stairs and then all the different piles of boxes and shit. He's got places to climb and all this stuff. He's happy. And, might I add, for the most part, really well behaved. Because he has a place to, get his energy out. Which is awesome. Gabby, I think, recognizes that she's home where she was born. You can tell she's just way more chill, generally speaking. It's good. It's good stuff. But how are you guys doing? I noticed we're at an hour 15. I feel like I should wrap it up. But I definitely want to check in with you guys. I'm getting my fan going. Get some air. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. But, the lead up to this was a lot of stress. I talked about the getting someone to come in and do what they did to the garage to convert it into the toy room was one of the most significantly stressful things. But out the door, everything was done in that garage for less than half of what I thought the flooring was going to cost by itself. So I'm not mad about that at all. You guys have seen the pictures by now. It looks really good. And then once we, move some stuff around, get it staged for starting to work on it, be good. Giraffe says, things are going great. Getting into the holiday mood, shorter days, Coco, decorating, late night movies. Love this time of year. That's part of it, though, too. Around here at 5 o'clock, it's like pitch black dark, which back in Texas, and especially during daylight savings, didn't get dark till like 8 o'clock. So we kind of have that switch over, and then we're here. It's a big shock to the system, and this really affected our energy levels. And we have seasonal affective disorder lights, and as soon as I find them, I'm going to use them, because I'm just like, fuck. The upside being, though, that sunrise happens right around or before I get up. So, and sunlight's a lot more easily accessible in here. Like, we have the blinds partially open, I have daylight over there, and, it's a lot better than it was in Texas for that. It's not a glaring sun, but it's there. But, I understand that this is what they call the long dark this time of year. And it didn't occur to me. And when I was up here visiting over December for Christmas, being up on the mountain, I couldn't give less of a shit. If it was, oh yeah. I remember Graf says, wait till December, darkness feel like it's all day. It's great, even a few hours sun is out, get some nice cloud cover. Yeah, which is a totally different thing when you're at your in-laws and they have a mountainside house where the back porch you have a view of the Portland skyline. You want it to get dark because it looks prettier then. Jason Garcia says, I think if I had it to do it again and had your space, I'd look for a Walmart big box store that's getting rid of shelves and do those kinds of shelving. And at the moment, it's dark at 6 p.m. in Texas. Now, there you go. So you're kind of feeling my pain too. Retail shelves are something that we talked about at one point. There was a property in Colorado that I was really attracted to. The big detriment is that the backyard wasn't as big as we would have liked. But aside from that, this place was massive at a really good price. So we just decided the garage was going to be the toy room. And it was a 4-car tandem garage. Which means a 2-car garage wide, 2 cars deep. So basically a 2-car garage version of what we have now. Huge. So it's like 25 feet wide, 40 foot deep. Crazy. And what we were going to do was make it so that when you walked in, you had retail shelves in the center, flanking this way, and on the sides. And that's where we were going to put all the boxes. Right? That was the thought process. that was a thought. It was something we're going to do, and then you walk in, and then there's just the toys, ha ha. And then, you know, like on dioramas, then you get to like the shelves where there's loose stuff. It's going to be this grand thing. And depending upon where we end up here in Oregon, we still might end up doing that. Some of the places have the space to like knock out the back of a garage and just go, and I might do that if the basement or whatever space isn't quite what I want. I'm like, yeah, let's bump out the back of the garage a little bit and have a little bit more fun with it. I wouldn't mind doing that. But so many of the places here have a decent toy space inside the house, and then the garage can either be used as a garage, but more to my liking, convert that bitch into a little pub. Something we want to do. So you have like toy room, entertaining space with the pub. You got the living room, and you got a sunroom, smoke room. We have all this stuff we want to do, and we're really excited about that stuff. So it's just a question of what kind of house we end up in. We've seen ones that kind of we get to do everything, or we have ones where one or two of those things are really, really good. There's one place that had like this huge detached workshop that we thought would be perfect to do the bar thing in, but then also have like music rehearsal and recording space in that doubles as a stage for performance in the bar. Like, that would be perfect. I would love to do that. Which negates the need for a rehearsal room, recording area in the house or whatever. So like kind of combining spaces for multiple uses and shit will be fun when the time comes, but we're not in a rush to do any of that. Like, do not expect me, like, once we're all set up, like, okay, well, the next thing we're gonna do, no. Once we're set up, and during the setup process, I'm gonna enjoy that in the moment. I'm just gonna, what I want the most is just to be like, hey, this is ours, no one can kick us out, and I'm gonna enjoy it, and when things line up, we'll make a change. But I'm really looking forward to not looking at the horizon anymore and just being in the moment. And that's what a lot of the last week has been. Just kind of like, all right, we gotta get this done, let's do that, whatever. I'm gonna come home, we relax, and that's that. Which is great, you know? Like, living in Texas, living in an apartment, I always had that fear. Someone would come and knock on the door and be like, you have to leave. It doesn't have to make, logic doesn't have to make sense. I don't have that fear here. The neighbors are the kind that, like, they're very friendly, but they don't bother you. It's just nice to know that we're safe, and we're stable, and we're okay. Can't put a price on that, even though we're saving money by being here. You know, not having to pay rent, and the utilities are lower, generally speaking, and stuff. I'm really happy and content here, and the rest of it is just going to be, let's get unpacked, let's get away, we're happy and whatnot. But that it'll take time. We'll get there, you know. You know, it's gonna take some time between now and Thanksgiving to get as close to finished as possible, like we said. But once that's going, and we just take an afternoon to kind of get the room, the toy room, kind of situated to where it's ready to actually get worked on, then we'll pop a camera on and get this shit done. I already have enough wireless extenders. I gotta get one down there. So we should have, you know, good connection down there as well. Probably end up using the phone for a good bit of it, but maybe for Christmas Santa will bring me either a different kind of camera and or another one of those mini PCs so I can use it down there. Oh yeah. But each day, you know, you find something you forgot you had, or just the room looking more like a room and less like a storage unit. So I really thank you guys for all the support and getting here and everything, and certainly for showing up and keeping me company during all this. You know, not having announced anything and whatnot. But as we're approaching an hour and a half, I don't know what else to talk about. So I'm gonna hop off here, and we'll see you guys soon. I love you much. It's happening, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.